Today's game is brought to you by the Goodyear Tire and Rubber Company. By Bud Light, the less filling light beer with a first name in taste. And by Team SEAHAWKS, the right products and the right people all working together.
At Mile High Stadium in Denver, the biggest game in Denver since 1977 when the Broncos went to the Super Bowl. Good afternoon and welcome to Denver, Colorado. Marv Albert with John Brody. And John, what about the crowd factor? Does Seattle have to score early in the ball game to shut down the Denver crowd?
Marv, I think that a hometown advantage is the most underestimated advantage that any home team has. And I think in the case of Denver this week, if Seattle doesn't score and allows Denver to get ahead, they'll be so loud when David Craig is at the line of scrimmage that he'll have almost an impossible time communicating with his receivers. And I think he's got to throw well for them to win today.
And the heart of both these ball clubs, the special teams and the work of the defensive units.
Well, their defensive units, I think, are structured by one man in each case. Tom Catlin for the Seattle Seahawks has been the guy with Chuck Knox. Wherever he's been, Tom has been there. They've got 8 divisional titles, and I think in large part due to the play of and the coaching of Tom Catlin. Joe Collier's a man who... came in the offseason, did not have a chance to bring his own man, saw just how great Joe Collier was. And the thing that stands out in Denver is Joe Collier and the Bronco defense.
And a look at the AFC playoff picture. Denver has already clinched a playoff spot, while with New England losing on Thanksgiving Day. A victory here today for Denver would give the Broncos a 2-game lead over Seattle. A Seattle win would mean a tie for first. Seattle won the toss. They elected to receive the kickoff from Carlos. Zachary Dixon. And they'll bring it out to the 20 as Dixon had to let it fly by. The one-time Denver Broncos, Zach Dixon, not allowed the kickoff return. Dave Craig leading the Seahawks onto the field. The one rookie, Darrell Turner, a wide receiver from Michigan State. And up front, Rod Essing, Reggie McKenzie, Blair Bush, Robert Pratt, and Bob Kreider. And the crowd into it right from the start. The Seahawks first down from the 20-yard line. Craig going for the bomb. And he has Turner. Darrell Turner. An 80-yard touchdown. And as you mentioned, John, Chuck Knox looking to quiet this crowd down right at the start.
Well, I tell you, I didn't quite know it was going to be that spectacular. Darrell Turner made one of the finest catches I've seen all year. Totally extended, and for him to have kept his feet was even more remarkable. But that ball was thrown as well as a ball can be thrown. Seattle also caught Denver in a blitz. They're trying to get to the thrower. You give the thrower that much time when you've got 7 men rushing the passer. He runs right by Mike Harden. Darrell Turner, we know, has got great speed in his rookie year from Michigan State. Turns the first offensive play into a touchdown, 6-0 Seattle, and the game is barely underway.
And here is Norm Johnson looking to add the extra point. Ken Zorn will put it down. Off the 80-yard touchdown to Darrell Turner, the man who replaced the injured Paul Johns, a second-round draft pick who has emerged as a starter in his rookie year. It is a 7-0 Seahawk lead. We'll be back with the Seattle kickoff right after these words. Well, the Denver Bronco defense began the day leading the NFL, allowing only 8 passing touchdowns, and Darrell Turner made it 9. Dave Craig has now thrown a touchdown pass in 15 consecutive regular season games. So here's the kickoff from Norm Johnson. And he will stay right there. Gene Lang, rookie from LSU. So they'll bring it out to the 20.
Chuck Knox said before the ball game, we really have to give Craig enough time. Well, when they're rushing 7 players, you get 3.5 seconds to throw the ball. You're liable to hit a streaking wide receiver down the line. Darrell Turner just outran Mike Harden. Looks a lot easier than it is.
Seattle off to the 7-0 lead. John Elway, who comes off the 5-touchdown performance against Minnesota last week with Sammy Winder, the lone deep back. 87 jet right in motion. And Elway putting one up. Look at this. And it is ruled incomplete. And Butch Johnson is very upset.
And I think he has a very legitimate reason to be so. The official that was behind him had ruled it a catch when they were on the ground. The ball was stripped from Butch's hand. Let's take a look. We see no instance there. They were both on the ground. The ball was stripped. It was a call, a judgment call, as we've seen so many go in different directions this year. But I think it gives you a pretty good illustration as to how each of these teams looks at the other. The last time these two teams played, 59 points were scored, and we could see a repeat.
Would have been a 54-yard pass play. So both teams coming out with the long bomb to open up 2nd and 10. Rick Barros across the 25-yard line. Keith Butler on the stop. And a look at that outstanding Seattle defensive unit. Jacob Green, 11.5 sacks. Jeff Bryant has the same. Joe Nash with 7 sacks. Solid group of linebackers, Schultz and Shelton Robinson and Butler and Gaines, who has filled in very well for the injured Michael Jackson, and a secondary that has been just terrific. Simpson, Easley, Harris, and Brown. 3rd down and 3 at the 27. Again to the ground, and it's Rick Barros. Stopped by Greg Gaines. Close to the 1st down.
But he did not get to the 30-yard line. It will not be a 1st down, and it was just because of the play of Gaines, who held Barros from being able to move his back forward across the line with the ball.
So a punting situation. And Chris Norman, a rookie from South Carolina, will boot away to Paul Scanzi. This is Norman, who has been erratic. Great potential up and down. Got off some boomers during the course of preseason. Just underway at Mile High, and Seattle with a 7-0 lead off the 80-yard touchdown pass play. Scanzi lets it bounce. And a Denver hump. 63-yard punt for Chris Norman. When we return, it'll be a 1st and 10 from the 7 for the Seahawks. Well, that 63-yard punt by Norman has gotten the crowd back into it. Seahawks in possession, 1st down from the 7-yard line. Dorning and Hughes, the running backs. Dan Dorning to the 9. Reuben Carter, the nose tackle on the stop. It's Chavis, Carter, and Jones up front. Rulon Jones with 6.5 sacks. Ryan Dennison, Busick, and Jackson. Jackson has been the emotional leader of this club. And Randy Robbins replacing the injured Dennis Smith out with that pinched nerve in his left shoulder. Robbins has played extremely well. He's a rookie from Arizona. 2nd down and 8. free safety, Steve Foley.
Marv, Steve Foley is one of those that when he's in the open field, it is no bargain to try and get around him. He's been an outstanding opportunist as a free safety, as a strong safety, an exceptional tackler. He's been the one steadying factor back there in the defensive secondary since Jackson left a few years ago. And he's a good one.
3rd down and 10. That's a final score. The Rams over Tampa Bay. Washington winning big over Buffalo. And the crowd responding to the Denver defense as Dan Dorning is stacked up.
Again, as good as their play selection was on the first series of plays when they were playing against the 7-man blitz, there was very little else they could do, but a draw play against the 7-man blitz generally does not get back to the line of scrimmage, as that one didn't.
The Seahawks to punt formation, and Jeff West, in his 9th year out of Cincinnati, will boot from deep in his end zone. Gerald Wilhite awaiting the punt at midfield. Earlier this week, Denver waived Zach Thomas, who had been tentative. So Wilhite handling both kickoffs and punts, and comes up on it inside the 40. 33-yard punt, and Denver with very fine field possession. 1st and 10 upcoming from inside the 39-yard line. 4.5 gone by. 1st quarter from Mile High in Denver. The Denver Broncos taking over at the Seattle 39. The Seahawks off the first play from scrimmage, an 80-yard touchdown bomb to the rookie Darrell Turner, leading the Broncos by the score of 7-0. Sammy Winder inside the 35, and Winder has been a workhorse as we check around the scoreboard. Some of the earlier games, Cincinnati winning big over Atlanta. Cleveland knocks off Houston, ending the Oilers' 2-game win streak. Hey, folks in Houston excited they were still in the playoff hunt with that record of 2-10. 2nd and 6 at the 35. To Steve Watson. It's a 16-yard pickup, but let's check out the flag.
Well, it's either on the defensive receiver or the defender or Watson, and I get the feeling that there's some discussion about which one.
There's no infraction on the play. The quarterback was out of the pocket. 1st down.
That means that if he's not sitting in the pocket, they can assume it might be a run or what have you and push the offensive receiver. In this case, Watson made a real good move to come back to Elway because he has no chance to complete the pass if he does not come back. You see how swiftly he does that? The defensive secondary today, I think, for the Seattle Seahawks will be very, very tight on both Watson and Johnson because their tight ends and backs have caught very few balls.
Denver 1st down at the Seattle 19. Now Winder lining up behind Barros. And it's Winder. Battling his way to the 16, Jacob Green and Joe Nash combining on Sammy Winder, who did get some rest last week in the blowout against Minnesota. He ran for 75 yards, 12 carries. He's done the job, although he's taken some pretty good pops.
He's taken a lot of good pops. He and Gerald Wilhite have both run the ball very well, and they do have a good offensive running game, averaging 4 yards a carry. And the other side of the coin, the Seahawks don't have a back that averages that.
Watson to the right, Johnson in the slot. 2nd and 7 from the 16. Elway with time. And Keith Simpson going for the intercept.
Well played secondarily, because we mentioned that they would like to press hard on the outside receivers. Elway knows that. He found a one-on-one coverage. Number 27, his halfback going straight down the field. He does appear to be breaking deep, but out to the outside lurks Keith Simpson. It was a zone defense. The play will not be effective if you do not lull the cornerback up. They did not. They come back with a 3rd down and 7.
Just under 9 left. First quarter, Seahawks lead 7-0. Again, Elway on the roll. And close to the first down marker inside the 10.
And John does something so well. He does not really want to prove his strength out here, but he had a chance to pick up a 1st down on a 3rd down and 7. Watch the move to get out of there. He feels Jeff Bryant, number 77, falling in front of him. If there is a space, it's to the outside. He gets a little help from Watson, but not enough. Secondary keeps him about a foot short of a 1st down.
So a 27-yard attempt coming up for Rich Carlos, who is 14 for 19. He's a soccer-style kicker, although Carlos admits he's never played a day of soccer in his life. Explain that one, John.
Maybe it's just easier to kick this way.
And Carlos puts the Broncos on the board from 27 yards away. Next Saturday, the PBA Fall Tour continues bowling at its best here on NBC Sports. With 10 straight wins, Seattle with 6 in a row. Denver's only loss this season, losing to Chicago, shut out 27-zip. Second week of the season. 7-3 Seattle, the kickoff by Rich Carlos. And again, a boomer. So Zachary Dixon has to stay right there. And they'll bring it out to the 20-yard line. The Raiders in front of the Colts, 7-0 in the first.
And they're probably playing in a quagmire down there. If you saw that Notre Dame SC game yesterday, it was unplayable.
First down from the 20 coming up now for the Seahawks. Philadelphia knocking off St. Louis, so the Cardinals have gone the other way as of late.
And so has Philadelphia in reverse. This is what I'm talking about, Marv, how hard it is for those wide receivers to hear the signals.
Craig goes to Dornick. Out to the 25. Steve Foley on the coverage.
And again, Steve Foley is a tough man one-on-one. That's why they employ him as a strong safety to get up, force the back, and make the tackle. He can do it one-on-one as well as anybody in this game.
A 2nd and 4 across the 25. Dave Craig, who took over as the starter the 9th week of last season. Since then, Seattle, a record of 17-6, including the playoffs. David Hughes, eluding the attempted tackle. Randy Robbins had a shot. Rick Dennison made the play.
You don't duck your head against the good ones.
So 3rd and 1. The spirit of the crowd here in Denver all through the week has been just amazing. The newspapers have treated it as it is a Super Bowl matchup. I saw the late night news last night, a couple of the shows leading with coverage of the Seahawks arriving at their hotel here in Denver.
And the players feel it, and so do the coaches.
Zach Dixon stopped short, but a flag thrown.
And I think the flag was for backfield in motion. It looked as if the lead back, Hughes, got started just a little bit quick.
And that is the indication from the referee, Jerry Seaman. Jerry Seaman sorting it out. The umpire today, Rick Stewart. The head linesman, Leo Miles. Line judge, Bama Glass. Back judge, Paul Bates.
Illegal motion. Number 46. Offense. Still 3rd down.
And it David Hughes for the illegal motion.
Marv, obviously the reason they took it is because although it looked as if he was stopped short of the first down, he actually made it.
It is a 3rd down and 5. Back at the 25. Getting it away, and a beautiful catch. Steve Largent picking up the 1st down and 11-yard advance.
And a man that stands in there the way Craig does, it's what he does best. When he has enough time to deliver the ball, Rulon Jones was right in his face. They know they have to stop number 75 if they're going to be effective and allow David to play. Now watch, Rulon comes to the inside. Ron Essick, number 64, is blocking on him. But watch, as he makes his spin, it looks as though Craig has no way to deliver the ball. He does, however, picks up the 1st down.
Steve Largent with his first catch of the day, 1st down at the 37. It's Largent. Another 1st down across midfield. A 15-yard pickup. Mike Harden on the tackle.
Largent is so shifty when he gets inside on that slot. There are no linebackers that can handle him. You take a look at the longest catch streaks. Largent's is 103. Whether he's now 4th all by himself or whether he's tied for 4th is immaterial, because I'm sure he'll be around for several years. This is only his 8th year. He's only 30 years old, and he'll be around for a bit.
And John, he has certainly been climbing into the upper echelons of the NFL record book in several categories. 1st down at the 48. Seattle leads Denver 7-3. And Dornick inside the 45. The nose tackle, Reuben Carter, the first to get to Dornick. Dornick, a solid all-purpose back, averaging just under 4 yards per carry.
And we mentioned earlier that all their backs are. Chuck Knox says, we start the guy who seems to have the semi-hot hand. And
Yes,
he said, Dornick's been doing everything that we could ask of him in the last few weeks. That's why he started.
That's a corrected score. St. Louis beat Philadelphia the other way around. Cardinals win it 17-16, and they hang in the NFC East. 2nd down and 5. Craig is 5 for 5, 111 yards. David Hughes. And he was tripped up by Randy Robbins. That's an intriguing statement by Chuck Knox, the semi-hot guy. He doesn't want to give full credit.
No, what he means simply is that, hey, our running game is such that without Kurt Warner, we do not have a 4-yard back. All these fellas are different type purpose backs. We know that Dornick has been an outstanding pass receiver. He's been a tough yardage runner for them. They're making do is what they are.
3rd down and 5. Broncos with 6 men in the secondary. Lots of time. And he waited for the last instant to hit Byron Walker. He could not have waited any longer.
Well, he had long enough, pal. He had about 7 seconds to throw the ball. Giving him proper time has been the #1 priority. Look at number 75, Rulon Jones, who's been an outstanding pass rusher for the past several years. Craig gets about 7 seconds to throw the ball. Essick, number 64, does a great job. Then you allow your receiver to come wide open. There is no one can cover any wide receiver all over the field for that long length of time.
Byron Walker out of the Citadel, keeping his streak intact, his 11th catch of the year. Every pass has gone for either a touchdown or a 1st down. 1st down at the Denver 28. Dornick, flag thrown. Oh, he is all down, hit hard, and calling for a face mask. May have picked that up. Lewis Wright on the tackle, and Dornick felt should have been a face mask.
Well, so did Craig, and that's the concern. It appeared as though the first infraction was, oh, here we go. Whenever they start throwing 2 or more handkerchiefs, it's just best to wait and see.
Hawks coach Dan Reeves awaiting the interpretation from Jerry Seaman. Chuck Knox, the only coach in NFL history to take 3 different teams to the playoffs.
Defense, linebacker, still first down.
Well, they call it the offside against Denver.
And that can happen. Let's take a look and see whether Louis Wright actually grabbed Dornick's face mask. If that isn't a violent case of face mask, we all miss a few, but he just didn't get the call.
Sets up a 1st and 5 at the 23. Steve Largent for the first down. 7 yards on the play. Ryan and Dennison on the stop.
Largent is so nifty. He's never in a hurry. He knows how much time the quarterback has. He allows the linebackers to get out of there. There are some receivers who quarterbacks have made. I think this man has really helped every quarterback he's been with, to the extent that I'm not sure he couldn't play with Humpty Dumpty back there. He just makes everybody look good.
His 3rd catch of the day. Humpty's problem could not roll out.
Taking nothing away from David, by the way.
Minute and a half left, first quarter. Seattle leading Denver 7-3. Craig looking end zone. Overthrows Dornick. Covered by the linebacker, Ryan.
Craig's quite vocal today. This time he's getting on his own bench.
He has a 2nd and 10 coming up, his first incompletion. So Craig 8 for 9, 134 yards.
Well, maybe when you've hit 8 for 8, you don't think you'll ever miss one. I think at that particular time he was given personnel that weren't suited to the particular play that was called. And that happens a lot when you insert as many players as they do now.
10th play of the drive upcoming. Incomplete. Intended for Dornick. So that was underthrown. And it's a 3rd and 10 from the 17. In 11 years of head coaching, 8 playoff berths for Chuck Knox. Dave Craig out of Milton College. Very little interest in Craig after his career at Milton, but his college coach knew someone in the Seattle front office, and Craig given a tryout and has certainly made the most of it.
Sure has. Jim Zorn was a very well-established quarterback when he came in as a rookie.
3rd down 10. Out of the shotgun. Flag thrown. Craig fumbles, and Denver recovers. Carl Mecklenburg on the recovery. But there is a penalty flag down.
As opportunistic as the Broncos have been throughout the year, Seattle has been equally so. But things have not gone Denver's way early.
This the 2nd penalty about to be assessed on Dan Reeves' Broncos.
Illegal contact, number 77, defense, first down.
And it is the man who recovered the fumble. Carl Mecklenburg in his 2nd year out of Minnesota, an A.J. Dewey type for the Denver Broncos, who has played very well, and he is called on the penalty.
I have a slight confusion as to what illegal contact meant in this case, because I know it wasn't a blocker he was trying to avoid.
And a pivotal call. Seattle maintains possession and a first down. Here's Hughes. Only Miami and Philadelphia have had fewer penalties called against them coming into today. Denver has been hit with 2 here in the first quarter, and this first quarter now with 45 seconds remaining.
And if you notice closely, Reggie McKenzie is starting again for the Seahawks. Knox likes to save his old veterans, the ex-All-Pros, for games of this size. Reggie just blew his man right off the line of scrimmage that time and allowed Hughes to pick up the 6.
It is Essing, McKenzie, Bush, Pratt, and Kreider up front. A lot of experience in that line. McKenzie in his 13th year, 34 years old. There he is, number 67. Bush in his 7th. Pratt, his 11th year. Kreider in his 7th. A timeout called. When we come back, it'll be a 2nd down and 5 for the Seahawks. A sustained drive for the Seahawks of Seattle. 2nd and 5 from the 7th. 26 seconds left. First quarter. Seattle leading Denver 7-3. Largent in motion. David Hughes. And stopped by Lewis Wright. Big rush by Rulon Jones, who was all over Dave Craig.
And as we see a 3rd down and 6, it all started because of an apparent turnover that was not given to the Broncos. And we have been given a ruling that said Mecklenburg actually hit an eligible receiver downfield, and they did rule that David Craig threw the ball. If he did, I just did not see that phase.
On to the 2nd quarter here at Mile High Stadium in Denver. A very healthy quarter this season for the Seattle Seahawks. They lead the Broncos 7-3 off the 80-yard bomb on the first play of the game. Craig hitting the rookie Darrell Turner. 3rd down and 4 from the 6. Here's Gornick. He has picked up the 1st down short of the goal line. And a flag thrown.
Largent is very concerned. I'm sure it was called on him. He was trying to screen one of the defenders. I'm sure they ruled that he did so before the ball was in the air or caught.
And here's Jerry Seaman.
Pass interference, number 80, offense.
So the call on Steve Largent, and it sets it back to the 15-yard line. Seattle Seahawks coming at 10 up, 2 down. The 10 wins a Seattle season record. Denver 11-1, leading the AFC West. The Broncos have won 10 in a row. 3rd down and 14. Largent peels off. And Craig throws end zone. Overthrowing, he saw the coverage. Darrell Turner, handled by Lewis White.
He had enough time if any of his wide receivers had come open quickly, but Rulon Jones was there after about 3 seconds. He had to throw it into the cheap seats, give himself a chance for 3.
So the field goal attempt coming up for Norm Johnson. Now, this is a 32-yard attempt before the season got underway. Seahawks special teams coach Rusty Tillman set an 80% accuracy goal for Johnson. Coming into today, Johnson has been just sensational. 17 for 19 overall. And this one is good. Making 33 yards for Johnson. So he is now 18 for 20. And the Seahawks move in front of the Broncos by the score of 10-3. In a row here in Denver, the longest home win streak in the history of the Bronco franchise. They're trailing the Seahawks by the score of 10-3 off a 14-play, 65-yard drive. Norm Johnson hitting from 33, and again, no kickoff return.
It's just the mark of great special team play. Both these teams have it. We're liable to see several points scored throughout the afternoon without a kickoff return.
Again, they'll start out from the 20-yard line. 80-yard pass play. Craig to Turner. First play of the game, giving Seattle a 7-0 lead. Rich Carlos hit from 27 yards out. And just moments ago, Norm Johnson from 33. Seahawks with 136 yards passing thus far as John Elway gets set to start this series. Big rush. And he just did get it away. Jacob Green in the face of Elway.
I think we might have gotten that one kind of half right. He just did get it away without getting caught because he obviously had no intended receiver. Tim Wright was somewhere within the vicinity, but they do call in the grasp so often, and we see it being done now.
And the combination of Bryant and Green, who have been awesome throughout the season, getting the within the grasp call, and it sets it back to a 2nd and 21 at the 9. Winder, the lone deep back for Denver. And here's Winder across the 10. Bruce Schultz, the outside linebacker, 3rd year out of Texas, on the stop.
You just see the philosophy of both teams. Now, the fact that Seattle came out firing early, they've still thrown the ball in relatively safe areas, a lot to their backs. On the other side, Denver has not really taken any chances at all. Both teams are such minimum risk offenses due to the fact their defensive play is so outstanding that they don't try very often to get out of this sort of hole.
4 wideouts for the Broncos. Sampson. Submarine by Terry Taylor.
We saw Clint Sampson earlier in the year, Marv, and I mean, he took one of the straightest, roughest hits we've ever seen. He was out for several weeks. He came back, and he was subject to get a beauty there. Take a look at the secondary. Both Seattle safeties are favoring the outside receivers, and they're doing that because Denver has a tendency to throw to both outside receivers, in this case leaving the slot man, Simpson, open.
So the 10-yard pickup sets it to a 4th and 7, and Chris Norman will punt from his 8-yard line. Paul Scansey awaiting the punt. And another beauty. He had a 63-yard punt earlier. Scansey, 25-30. A 56-yard punt by Norman, who's putting on a show in this first half. 8-yard return for Scansey. And the Seahawks will go to the offense. 1st and 10. The ball spotted at the 30-yard line with 12 and a half left. First half. Away with NFL 84 next week beginning 12:30 Eastern time. There is a chance of snow, they say about 20%. A nippy day here at Mile High in Denver. First down from the 30. And Craig throwing the bomb again for Turner. And again it's Darrell Turner with the great speed. He left Lewis right behind.
And the one thing that it comes most noticeable is they're a bit indiscriminate as to who they pick on. That time they threw it on Lewis Wright, who's having one of his finest years ever, and Darrell Turner just ran away from him. Very seldom do you see a one-on-one situation with Lewis Wright where he doesn't have the best angle to the ball when the ball gets up in the air. This ball, just relatively well thrown, would have been another 6.
Darrell Turner, who on the first play from scrimmage caught one that went 80 yards for the game's only touchdown. 2nd down and 10 from the 30. A lot of movement and flags thrown. Robert Pratt, the right guard, among those.
Well, that one was false start prior to the snap. Number 78.
And they say the right tackle, Bob Kreider.
Had good drop position, though. You notice he set up very well.
The procedure against the Seahawks, 2nd down, 15. Back at the 25, it's Essink, McKenzie, Bush, Pratt, Kreider up front. Swing around the scoreboard. leads Minnesota 7-3 in the second. David Hughes on the completion. Out to the 35-yard line. Lewis Wright on the stop, a 10-yard pickup.
What you need in order to get away those short passes when they blitz 5 or 6 people. That time Tom Jackson came after David Craig. Reggie McKenzie, being as quick as he is, was able to protect Craig's backside. Take a look. Now he sees his man's being handled. Essing's got him. He's got to go out to Jackson. Does a good enough job to allow Craig to throw the ball in the flat, pick up 6 yards. That coordination is so important. I think it's more important than strength once you get the knack.
And the Seahawks have not been executing third down opportunities lately. In their 2 previous games, only 4 of 23 in third down conversions. Third down and 5 right here. Quick release for Largent. And they pick up the first down. Randy Robbins stopping Largent.
Randy Robbins will have his hands full if they play that sort of defense often. They're trying to get to Craig because his offensive line is giving him so much time to throw. They're inserting more blitzes than is normal for a Bronco defense. When you do that, you leave the defensive backs one-on-one, and Largent's going to have a field day against anybody in that situation.
4 catches for Largent, his very latest, picking up 23, and it's a first down at the 41. 4 minutes in, second quarter, Seahawks with a 10-3 lead on the Broncos. David Hughes, stopped by Andre Townsend, the second-round draft pick rookie out of Mississippi. Marv Albert with John Brody. Capacity crowd as always at Mile High Stadium in Denver, 108th consecutive home sellout. That is a 15-year streak. They have responded to the Broncos, who lead the AFC West with a record of 11-1.
This is just a great sports area in every area.
Well, they have Bronco Mania and Nugget Mania. The Denver Nuggets also off to a terrific start. Pass intended for Byron Walker. Jim Ryan on the coverage.
And Jim Ryan's good drop forced Craig to throw the ball farther to the outside than he'd like. These linebackers for Denver are exceptional.
And Tom Jackson has come back very, very strong.
And yeah, but when you take a look at the fact that Bob Svensson and Randy Gradishar, who were the pillars of their defense over the past 10 years, both unable to play any longer, and their linebacking hadn't dropped any, you got to give it credit.
Craig 11 for 16 as he faces a third down and 8. Again the protection. And a nice catch by Dornick, who had to come back for it. A 17-yard pass play.
Dan Dornick, he is the all-purpose halfback used so often in pass play situations. Take a look at the last year's starters that aren't on this club any longer, and to think they're 10-1 or 11-1 at this time of the year, that means you've got to have a good structure. Defensively, you've got to play outstanding ball. They've done all those things to win, and John Elway has brought them back 4 or 5 times.
Very impressive overhaul. Broncos, a very young team. They have a league-high 14 rookies on the roster. And Dornick stopped by Reuben Carter on the first down play. So the Seahawks with another good drive. And second and 8 upcoming.
Meanwhile, while we're talking about how good Denver is, Seattle's just running right up and down the field here for the last 50 yards. So,
8:40 left in the first half. 8th play of this drive. David Hughes inside the 15. So Craig utilizing Hughes and Dornick very effectively.
well, you can do that effectively when your offensive line gives you 3.5 to 4 seconds to throw because the linebackers are stuck between a rock and a hard spot. They've got to keep their distance as long as the quarterback hasn't committed. You see Harden, it was his own defense. He was the first man to get to the play. And if you're giving your quarterback that much time, he's really just picking and choosing.
5th catch for Hughes. All in short yardage situations. 3rd down and 1 for Seattle at the 12. And Blair Bush leads the Seahawks up. Randall Morris, the rookie from Tennessee, picking up the 1st down. Lewis Wright on the coverage. Wait a moment, let's see where they spot the ball.
They gave him a pretty good spot.
Well, apparently he fell short. It is a 4th down coming up.
I think if I were the captain for the offensive team there, I might request a mark.
So the Seahawks will go for the 3. Norm Johnson. From 29 yards away, angle to the left. An unfriendly upright. So Johnson not able to connect. We'll get another look at it.
This is a chip shot in his league, but he never did get the ball off cleanly. Take a look at that flag. It tips the edge of it. And while the Seahawks have done a lot of movement up and down the field, they still only lead by 7 in the middle of the 2nd quarter.
Johnson, who was 17 for 17 inside the 50 with his first miss from inside the 50-yard line as he could not connect from 29 yards away. So the score remains Seattle 10, Denver 3. And the Broncos take over at their 20-yard line. Elway on the roll. Intended for Steve Watson.
You notice on that play, John was trying to buy a little time. He was trying to get Steve to come back to him. Steve was on the run the whole way, never really saw the need to because he had beaten his secondary man. Watch, this is 88 here, but 81 is just coming out, stumbled as he came out, could not really see the ball at all, was just trying to maintain balance. There have not been a lot of open receivers for the orange shirts.
And the Seahawks dominated the Broncos to this point. Elway is only 2 for 5, 27 yards, 2nd down play. Going sideline. Ray Alexander. Stopped by Keith Simpson, a 40-yard pass play.
I think more than any other quality, that's what a real strong arm can allow a quarterback to do. It spreads the defense to such an extent the guy with Elway's gun can just stand there and fire the ball all the way across the field. There is no zone defense that can handle this given enough time. You see, he waits for his man to get in between the corner and the safety. John Harris had no play on the ball. Just a beautiful throw. Take a look at the secondary. Now, this is a zone defense. It's spread out. He's playing as close to the sideline as he could, but it wasn't close enough.
1st down from inside the 40. Stutter step by Rick Barros. Stopped by the right defensive end, Jeff Bryant. Right here, we pause briefly for station identification. This is the NBC television network. John Brody from Denver, Colorado. The Seattle Seahawks in front of the Denver Broncos, 10-3. They struck early. First play from scrimmage, 80-yard bomb. Now Denver on the move, 2nd and 4. Down at the Seattle 33. Look out.
That'll be... Well, the official was barely able to throw the flag that time. They almost got him, too. is stopped, and everyone knew it was, to take the quarterback and dump him on his head is something that reminds you of what happened Cleveland and Pittsburgh with Terry Bradshaw about 5 or 6 years ago. Not necessary. Being an ex-quarterback.
Yes, I was going to mention that. Jacob Green, the man who made the move at John Elway, and then little Sammy Winder had some words with the 6'3", 255-pound Jacob Green. Well, this was billed as the battle with Seattle. Jerry likes to take his time.
Offside, defense, penalty decline, personal foul, unnecessary roughness, defense.
Now, Jacob Green will be concerned with that, but it seemed as though everyone else knew the whistle had blown. He's got a hold of John right now. He knows the play stopped. So do John's teammates.
Now Keith Bishop racing to the rescue of John Elway, and then Sammy Winder had some words. So that cost Jacob Green in Seattle. Denver now first down at the Seattle 18-yard line. 5.5 left in this first half. Seahawks 10, Broncos 3. Steve Watson flanked to the left. Running backs Winder and Barrows out of the eye. Here's Barrows, nothing. Joe Nash, the nose tackle in his third season out of Boston College, right there.
Well, you're talking about Boston College, Marv. Did you happen to see that little ditty that went on about 3 days ago?
In fact, Nash, a man who enjoyed the Doug Flutie show on Friday. You know, Nash has the Boston College Eagle tattooed on his hip. Talk about school allegiance.
Sounds like one of those fraternity pranks to me.
2nd and 11. And Elway lost it. Touchdown. Butch Johnson.
The strength of John Elway's arm, you tend to forget the touch that the man can use. This time, Johnson was thrown the ball before he made his final movement. Perfectly thrown ball. He was pretty well covered. Nevertheless, 6 points.
And Rich Carlos has tied the game at 10. The 19-yard touchdown pass thrown by Elway.
And look at this ball. He put some air under it. Simpson is in pretty good position to make a fine play if the ball is not perfectly thrown. Butch Johnson pulls it down easily, and Denver's back in.
That quote in reaction to Butch Johnson, who said he purposely did not look good while he was with the Houston Oilers so he could force a trade to a winning football team. What's your reaction to that?
Marv, if you believe that comment, you believe Houston will play in the Super Bowl in '85.
Another powerful kick. And again, no return as Zachary Dixon has to stay in the end zone.
We mentioned simply that I think this kid can throw it as well as anybody in the game. He put a lot of air under that ball. Butch Johnson ran a very fine pattern to keep Simpson from being able to get in a position to make the play, and it's tied up.
Yes, it is Orange Sunday here in Denver.
You think that guy can see?
Seattle first down on the 20-yard line. Broncos, 5 plays, 80 yards, capped off by the 19-yard pass from Elway to Johnson. Elway's 15th touchdown pass of the season. Craig off the play action. Nice catch by Largent. Lewis Wright on the stop.
They've been laying off Largent the last 2 or 3 weeks, haven't really thrown to the man as much as their tendencies were in the past, and I'm sure they've saved him. Looks like every pattern is intended primarily to go to Steve, unless they throw a long one to Darrell.
Fifth catch of the day, picked up 8. 2nd and 2 from the 28. We're tied at 10. Here's Hughes. Very powerful move and a fumble. And the ruling is the ball landed out of bounds. So Seattle maintains possession.
Both these teams are so good when they get 3 or 4 defenders around the ball to strip the running back from it that it's almost a good idea to just find the ground when you get into that position. Hughes could not do so, and that ball just barely made it out of bounds before it was a turnover.
And it's placed back at the 29. It'll be a 3rd down and 1. Both these clubs like to, as one of the Seattle defensive players put it, peck away. They pound away at the football, and both have been very, very effective.
First guy holds him up, and the next 3 go after it.
Just under 4 left in this first half. Seattle 4 for 6 in 3rd down conversions. Not this time. Zachary Dixon was stopped. And one of the Broncos is down. Looked to be Randy Robbins, the rookie safety man out of Arizona.
Take a look. When it's so hard to get back to the line of scrimmage, all the Broncos are in a slant to the right side. All of them slipped right through the crease. The running back had no chance to get back to the line.
But apparently, Robbins all right, holding his wrist. Randy Robbins starting in place of the injured Dennis Smith at strong safety. And Jeff West will punt it for 32 yards on his first attempt. Back at his 12. Gerald Wilhite awaits the punt at the 25. And he pops it up, but takes a Seattle hop. Not what West had in mind, but he did get a roll.
This is the sort of game, Marv, where you don't see a Fanning on the bench. I mean, they don't have a guy from either side sitting on the bench. And normally you'll see 15, 20 fellas sitting there. This game is...
32-yard punt by West, and a timeout has been called. We'll be right back. Marv Albert with John Brody from Denver, John Elway. And the Broncos go to work, first out inside the 40-yard line. We're tied at 10. Elway coming off the brilliant performance last week against Minnesota, 16 for 19, 5 touchdown passes. Winder, and again a flag. Penalty marker down. The last time a Denver quarterback threw 5 touchdowns, back in 1962, Frank Trapuka did it when Elway, who threw 5 last week, was only 2 years old.
And you know, 5 touchdowns is a fantastic number, and very few players have ever thrown that many. But to throw it in just a little over a half is even more impressive. And he had 5 about 5 minutes into the third quarter.
Number 76, offense, still first down.
All right, the hold on Ken Lanier, the right tackle. What's the most you ever thrown in a game?
I think we got 5 once or twice, and I think we lost the ball game, and that happens a lot too. But John's play just took his team and blew them right past the Vikings. Their offensive line's moving pretty well. They got picked for holding that time, but they've had pretty good surge.
1st and 17. Back at the 33. 3 minutes left, first half. Johnson in motion. Winder to the 35. And the Broncos hearing it from the crowd.
Well, you know, so many times, and I think all young quarterbacks occasionally get thin-skinned, and I don't think John Elway is any exception. I think he's misinterpreted a few of those boos as being meant for him, when I think they're meant for the play calling and the play selection. And if you take a look at a minimum risk type offense, you're going to hear a few boos, but I don't think Dan Reeves cares. I like his record.
2nd down, 14. Here's the blitz. Look out. Elway getting it away. Intended for Sampson, but interference call.
What a beautiful play by Sampson.
And Terry Taylor will be called for the interference.
Marv, that was a double safety blitz. Easley was totally uncovered. He camouflaged it so that he got there, and only a guy that's alert can get rid of the ball.
Number 24, defense.
But you know you're one-on-one. You know the defensive back is to you. You can throw the ball up. Your offensive receiver has the best chance to get to it. Terry Taylor was the culprit. And actually, Clint Sampson made an absolutely fine move to go for the ball.
So the break for Denver, giving them a first down at the Seattle 47-yard line. Interference on Taylor, the number 1 draft pick out of Southern Illinois. That's a 17-yard pickup by the Broncos. 2:18 left, first half. We're tied at 10. They go out of the eye. Now Johnson peels off. Elway for Johnson. And broken up by the combination of Keith Simpson, number 42, and Ken Easley.
Well, they play back there extremely well and well coordinated, but Johnson catches a lot of those times, and Elway is throwing the ball so well that it's taking absolute perfect secondary coverage to handle it. You see, he can handle it. He dissects those defenses. Easley was not in the play. Simpson made a super defensive play to get his hand on it. How many of you seen Butch Johnson come down with from Roger Staubach over the past several years? And Danny White, and I'm sure John Elway.
2nd and 10 from the Seattle 47. And again, Elway just did get it underway. And let's see, it was picked off. Dave Brown on the interception. The pass intended for Steve Watson, but again the blitz. This time it was the outside linebacker, Greg Gaines, right at John Elway.
Well, he was in Elway's face, but John, that's the sort of play that sometimes these great arms make a mistake by trying to complete. He had nowhere to go. Watson was never in a position to catch any sort of reception. Brown was playing the short out all the way. John would have done better to just sling it down on the ground.
Dave Brown with his 8th interception of the season. He's now tied for the NFL lead with Ken Easley, depending on what has been going on elsewhere. First down from the 40 for Dave Craig. With the time again and throws it away. And 2 minutes remain now in this first half in Denver. The Denver Broncos and the Seattle Seahawks are tied at 10. We'll be right back. Just under 2 minutes remaining. In this first half, we're tied at 10. Dave Brown just picking off his 8th interception of the season. And you can see where Brown stands among those still active in the NFL. And he and Ken Easley with 8 interceptions apiece.
And another man on that active list, John Harris, with 33 interceptions. He was one of the top 5. So it just shows you how opportunistic that group has been over the past few years.
2nd and 10 from the 40. Craig is 14 for 20, 202 yards. And once again, Steve Largent, Carl Mecklenburg on the stop, and Largent with his 6th catch of the half.
Well, you know, both of these teams have a featured receiver. For Denver, it's Watson. For the Seahawks, it's been Largent. And although they can both get deep, neither has great speed. Largent is a little bit niftier, Watson a little bit bigger, but Largent's having a field day now.
3rd down and 4. Dornick has the 1st down as Tom Jackson fell down. Nice cut by Dornick.
Excellent, and that's what you expect of a real good situation 3rd down back.
LA Raiders in front of the Indianapolis Colts. San Francisco leads New Orleans. They are at the half. Chicago, Minnesota. Bears up 10-3 in the 2nd. And all the scores and highlights upcoming. NFL 84 back at our studios in New York. Bob Costas, Ahmad Rashad, Bill McAtee, and the Axe, who was not playing with a full deck on the pregame once again. 1:16 remaining in this first half as the timeout was called. Well, all the excitement and enthusiasm of college basketball is back. Join us next week for the beginning of new eras for 2 of college basketball's premier programs. First-year head coaches Joey Meyer of DePaul taking over for his dad, and Walt Hazard of UCLA battled it out in their first national appearance. Don't miss all the excitement. And that'll be right here on NBC Sports. UCLA and DePaul getting it underway next Saturday starting 2:30 Eastern Time. Would you explain that,
I'd
Philip?
say you might consider him to be a little suspect. I know he loads up before the game, but when the snow starts, he's still in the same garb. That's when it really gets you to wondering.
Well, there is a 20% chance of snow later on today. Temperature right now 38 degrees here in Denver. Minute 16 left of the half. We're tied at 10. 1st down from midfield for the Seahawks. The reverse for Largent. Gets about 5. Lewis Wright able to corner him at the far side. So Largent on the reverse.
Well, if you take a look from end to end, they put a lot of people on Largent. They had 2 linebackers on the other side, so they assumed maybe they could get out around the containment. They weren't able to do so. The Denver defense is so active that to run anything laterally very long, you will get caught.
Well, that was a move by the Houston Oilers that Bum Phillips would like to forget about, as they sent Largent away, and he has emerged as one of the great ones in the league. 2nd and 5. Dave Craig with time. Couldn't find anyone. And then underthrows. Intended for Byron Walker. Covered by Lewis Wright.
Dave Craig has thrown very smartly throughout this half. He has not tried to force any balls, because when you do, that's when Denver's at its best. Louis Wright had his man covered throughout across the field. That's hard to do, but Louis can do it.
And as you see, 1:02 remaining in the half. David Craig opening up. First play from scrimmage. 80-yard bomb for Darrell Turner. Look at those stats. Hina has thrown 22 touchdowns on the season. That is a Seahawk club record. 3rd down play, and he goes deep again for Walker. Steve Wilson able to break it up.
Tell you what, right now, Denver is playing Seattle's receivers one-on-one on the outside, and the Seahawks have not been able to shake free. They're playing them one-on-one because they're putting more attention on Largent. They do not want to let that man run free in the middle. So you see, Steve Wilson's out here responsible for Walker one-on-one, actually forces him out of bounds. That's about as well as a defender can play a ball.
And Wilson came on for the starting right cornerback, Mike Harden. All right, Jeff West. And let's see where they spot it. With 49 seconds remaining of the half, Again, a short punt by West, 32-yard punt.
That's right. But remember, Denver has not taken any timeouts. They have 3 left. Since they've got the ball, I don't think they're going to try to do anything smart. They'll try to get it out of there with a running play. Seattle only has 1 timeout left, and because of that, they cannot force them to stay down there and make them punt. They could run the ball out if they don't get a good play early.
And the ball marked at the 13-yard line. Sammy Winder, the lone deep back. First down from the 13. Here's Winder. Out to the 18 with 42 and counting.
If they let this thing wind down, and I'm pretty sure that Dan Reeves is going to do that, you'll hear a few boos from the stands. But you know, you can't hardly criticize success too harshly. And he takes all the heat, but he also takes the victories.
Well, with a record of 11-1 and leading the AFC West. And Reeves can take the reaction from the crowd, or a portion of the crowd. Now the cheers as the Broncos and the Seahawks head back to the locker room. At halftime here in Denver, it's the Broncos and the Seahawks tied at 10. Seattle striking early. 80-yard pass play from Craig to Turner. 27-yard field goal by Carlos. A 33-yarder by Johnson, who missed later from 29. And then it was Elway for Johnson to tie it. That's the end of the half. We're tied at 10. They have been booming them. And Lang lets it go. So again, no kickoff return. Well, we're tied at 10 despite the fact that the Seahawks have had it all over the Broncos on the stat sheet.
Well, the stat sheet, I think, is primarily up there due to that 80-yard throw that Craig made to Daryl Turner early in the ball game. And since then, it's really, they've run down the field a bit. Getting close to the goal line, Denver's defense has been up to the task, and it looked as if their offense started to come on late. So it's one of those cases where you hope Seattle hasn't shot their bolt.
First and 10 from the 20. Winder and Parros, the running backs. Sammy Winder on a sweep. Following the left guard, Keith Bishop. Bruce Schultz on the stop. As we recap what has taken place here today, Craig hitting Turner, 80-yard pass play, first play from scrimmage, the field goal by Carlos, the field goal by Johnson, who missed from 29, and Elway lofting one beautifully to Butch Johnson, Johnson's 6th touchdown of the season. 2nd and 6 out of the 24. And it's Parros. He tried to stutter step and nowhere to go, met by Keith Butler.
Hard to stutter step 4 or 5-0. You may do that to 1.
Well, he saw Butler, and then Butler was joined by some friends. Joe Nash, the nose tackle, on the scene. So 3rd and 11. A loss on the play. Rick Barros, 5 carries, only 8 yards. We are just underway. 3rd quarter. Marv Albert, John Brody from Denver, Colorado. And Elway hanging in, goes incomplete. Steve Watson, the intended receiver. John Elway remaining in the pocket. And the Broncos will go into punt formation. Chris Norman came into today's game with more punts than anyone in the NFL. And he has had a couple of boomers here this afternoon. He's averaging 60 per punt. And that includes the 63-yard on his first attempt. He will punt from his 5.
You notice they've got 3 people back to receive that ball on the fly.
And it's Paul Scanzi. across the 45. So another good one by Norman. 51 yards, 16-yard return. Randy Robbins on the tackle.
You know, good special teams adjust very swiftly. And you mentioned the kicking game for Denver was so effective in the first half. They put 3 people back there to make sure that ball didn't hit the ground and roll 10 or 15. And it resulted in a very good punt return.
Seattle now, first down from their 46. Dave Craig, the quarterback. The running backs, David Hughes and Dan Dornick. They have gone most of the way. That's Largent, number 80, in motion. Here's Largent to the 48. And with that catch, Steve Largent has tied Bobby Mitchell for number 10 on the all-time NFL reception list with 521.
You know, and all of those players are players who played for a long period of time, Marv, 10, 12, 14 years. Largent's done it in 8, and, you know, you see no limit for the man. That occasion, he was covered by 2 linebackers, dissected them both, and was wide open.
Second down and 3. Short of the first down by a yard. Barney Chavis on the tackle.
And this has been the toughest situation for the Seahawks all afternoon. 3rd and 1. They have not been able to pick up that first down. They've been beaten at the line of scrimmage by the Denver defense. And here they are, 3rd and 1 again. Let's see if they can finally get some movement out of their offensive line. I'm not sure I wouldn't throw in this situation. If they have a 3rd and short yardage throw, I think we'll see it.
And the Seahawks, Chuck Knox going double tight end. Mike Tice has come on, joining Charlie Young. They're packed in solid. And he will throw. Intended for Tice. So Knox looking to pull a surprise on the Broncos.
Well, evidently he didn't surprise us, and he didn't surprise the Broncos. That man was double covered. Mike Tice is not known for his speed. You're going to have to fool people if Tice is going to come open. He was covered all the way. Nobody fooled. Foley underneath. Louis Wright deep. That's a mismatch for the defense.
Mike Tice, the huge tight end at 6'7", 250 pounds. Jeff West with his 4th punt of the day. Here's Gerald Wilhite, who's averaging 12.5 per punt return. And West with the angle attempt. And contact made. Let's see what the play. Yes, a penalty flag down.
If they don't get one on that play, they will never get one. Foley going over and thanking Dornick, saying thank you very much, Dan. Foley actually lulled Dornick to thinking he was going to catch the ball. When he didn't, Dornick had committed himself. Take a look. Foley looks as if he's going to catch this ball, or this is Wilhite. Looks like he's going to catch it the whole way. That's good fooler.
And the referee, Jerry Seaman, with the call.
We have an invalid field signal on the receiving team. We have interference with opportunity to catch the kick. Number 37, kicking team, the down.
All right, the ruling that Wilhite did not give the proper signal that he was making the fair catch.
Well, he was kind of, that's one of them, I think I'm going to kind of fair catch it. And that doesn't get it as far as the officials are concerned, nor the rule book.
A little chicanery attempted by
but it still would have been
Wilhite.
severe had the kicking team not interfered with his right to catch the ball, because they'd then been inside their own 10. Now they get a chance.
So West will kick again. All 3 of West's punts have been 32 yards, but all 3 not returned.
Well, 32 here is not real bad. It would get them on the 13-yard line. Obviously, they'd like to do better, but...
And Wilhite is being pulled. It'll be Mike Harden. Mike Harden dropping back to his 10-yard line. Is coach upset?
I'm sure he is.
And the punt by West, a pop-up. That's an unusual situation where a guy on the field is dramatically pulled off. Other substitutions you might not notice, but a man back in single safety being pulled. You notice that. And this will go down as a 16-yard punt.
Well, you see, Gerald Wilhite is a little disgusted with himself. He's not been inserted into the offensive structure very much throughout the afternoon. I'm sure he'd love to contribute. This is the biggest ball game probably in his career, and he has to sit most of it out.
To Denver, Colorado, Marv Albert with John Brody. First down from the 29 for the Broncos. Well, Gerald Wilhite made a mistake, but it gained the Broncos, what, 20 yards?
The way it rolls.
I don't think Dan Reeves is thinking that way. Pursued. Hard hit by Greg Gaines on Gene Lang, the rookie from LSU.
You know, I think, Marv, one of the things that has gone unnoticed throughout the afternoon is the day that Dave Studdard has had on Jeff Bryant. We haven't seen much of Bryant in John Elway's hair. Now, they've put a one-on-one situation. Number 70, Dave Studdard, the left tackle. It's a very hard thing to contain either one of those defensive ends, and Dave has done an excellent job so far.
And he has allowed only 1 sack this season. That's an amazing statistic. The best tackles allow about 7-8 a season. Broncos feel he's all pro. 2nd and 4 from the 35. And Elway unleashes one. Looked to be a little movement. Let's see, was there a flag thrown? There are complaints being made by both clubs.
There are always complaints, but I did not see any yellow flag. I think Dan Reeves made a very descriptive complaint.
All right, the play will go into the books. 3rd down and 4 at the 35.
Well, you'll notice just after we talked about Studdard being able to do a pretty good job on Bryant, he moved outside the offensive end, and Studdard was left free on the play.
Studdard, Bishop, Bryant, combination of Howard, Cooper, and Lanier have been up front throughout. Elway on the recovery. Broken up. The hit by Terry Taylor. Butch Johnson, the intended receiver.
Well, Butch Johnson, he gave himself up to try and make this a completion as Elway stumbled the ball first, was in no position to make any sort of a premeditated throw. He tried to get some time, got outside, saw Butch, threw it pretty hard. Butch also got hit pretty hard.
And Chris Norman, the rookie from South Carolina, who has had a terrific day, back at his 20, getting set to punt to Paul Scanzi. 3.5 minutes gone by. 3rd quarter. Seattle and Denver tied at 10. And another beauty. Scanzi, 15-yard line. Nearly lost his right sleeve on the return. A 52-yard punt, 6-yard return. Ken Woodard getting to the return man, Paul Scanzi.
And we've seen field position pretty well dictated by the punting game after the 1st quarter, and the Broncos are getting the best of that.
Chris Norman averaging just under 60 yards a punt. A timeout has been called with 4 minutes gone by in this 3rd quarter. In Denver, this is a ball game that opened up in explosive fashion, but you get the idea, John, things have kind of settled down.
They've settled down to the expectations of most of the fans. It's become a defensive football game, and probably one big play will determine it.
But these fans have not settled down. Seahawks first down from their 20. And Craig with the successful pass for Steve Largent. Largent all the way down inside the 15. Lewis Wright on the stop.
They've done everything that they can possibly try to contain Largent, but if you're giving Dave Craig that much time, he will get free, and when he does, he will be in a position to create something big. Now here's Craig, 1,001, 1,002, 1,003, and we missed a second. He comes in late. He was able to come from his wide receiver position into the middle of the field. You see Mike Harden making a chase. He's got no case. Louis Wright finally has to bring him down. Largent's been the #1 factor in today's game.
65-yard pass play. First down at the Denver 15. It's Zach Dixon. Good second effort by Dixon. Zach Dixon, a one-time Denver Bronco. He was an 11th round draft pick of Denver back in '79. Scored 2 touchdowns last week against Cincinnati. Injured his knee in the opener against Cleveland. In fact, that has hurt his return game.
That's right. And I think Chuck Knox said before the ball game, he's the one fella that if we do create a hole, can zip through there and at least pick up the big gain for us. We saw him break a tackle on that occasion and pick up 8 yards. That's a big gain for their offensive running game.
And look at the Dave Craig statistics as he faces a second and about 2. Hughes with a big hole, but set back. David Hughes looking for the first down marker, but stopped by Rulon Jones and Walt Boyer.
Again, this is where the Broncs have been very stingy. The Seahawks have been in this position, this being their 4th time today. They got 1 field goal, missed 1, and now they're down here again.
And it's a 3rd down and 1. Talk about the Broncos defensive unit being stingy. They have certainly been stingy against the run. Hughes with 13 yards, 5 carries, 13 yards, represents the leading Seahawk rusher for the day. And Craig to put it up. Touchdown Hughes. David Hughes wide open.
And that was a 4th receiver. He was trying to go to the other side of the field to Mike Tice. It was supposed to be a fooler, a little rollout, but Hughes and David Craig coordinated beautifully. He was the 4th receiver, and if you take a look at Hughes, number 46, he's in here blocking, looking around. Now he sees an opening. If Craig has a problem, maybe he'll come to me. He's smart enough to realize Hughes is in the area as a 4th receiver, comes wide open, beautifully executed play.
Second touchdown of the season for Hughes, first on a reception, and Norm Johnson looking to add the extra point. Five and a half gone by in this 3rd quarter as we take another look at Craig looking for a receiver and then spotting the running back Hughes. So the Seahawks have jumped in front. They lead the Broncos by the score of 17-10. The 7th kickoff of the day coming up that is combined for both clubs. And we've yet to have a kickoff return as Norm Johnson gets set for the approach. Seattle with 4 plays, 80 yards. The big one, the 65-yard pass play between Craig and Largent leading to the touchdown. And our first return, it's Gene Lang. Out to the 25-yard line, Terry Taylor on the stop. An 18-yard return. Let's take another look at that Craig to Hughes touchdown pass.
Marv, so often we sit and judge quarterbacks by the strength of their arm. Now take a look. Here's Craig. He's coming out to the right side. This is a fuller look. He wants to come back to Mike Tice, his tight end, cutting underneath. He can't do it now. He's got to buy some time. The presence of mind is so important in the position of quarterback to be able to come to your 4th receiver, and Hughes was perfect in his timeout.
David Hughes out of Honolulu, Hawaii, now living in Kirkland, Washington, putting the Seahawks on top. First down for Denver from the 25. Big hole. Sammy Winder out near the first down marker. Keith Simpson up from his left cornerback spot to make the stop. Let's pause briefly for station identification. This is the NBC television network. With John Brody, I'm Marv Albert from Mile High Stadium in Denver. The usual capacity crowd, better than 75,000 on hand. The Denver Broncos 11-1. They've won 10 in a row. Seattle Seahawks 10 up and 2 down. They have won 6 in a row. Winder picked up the first down at the 35. Here's Winder again. Butler and Robinson combining on the stop. A short pickup for Winder.
You just named 2 of the players that have been so instrumental in the Seahawks' success throughout the year. throughout this afternoon, their defensive line has played pretty well, and neither team has really moved the ball much on the ground. It's been upstairs that all the damage has been done, and I look for John to get up there immediately.
What a turnaround the Seahawks have accomplished defensively.
With the same people.
Right, the only, let's see, Keith Simpson, who regained his starting spot at left corner. Off the swing, Wilhite. First down and much more. Terry Jackson caught him from behind.
There is a flag, Marv, but we do not know on who.
Offside, number 79, defense.
How often have you seen where somebody that is really embarrassed, like Gerald Wilhite was, we see Jacob Green jump just before the snap. It was incidental to the play. The play being Gerald Wilhite's little quick swing pass. Now, this guy had to be embarrassed when he was taken out on that punt return. You can see the anguish on his face. Gets one more opportunity. He's the guy that was expected to do great things up here in Denver when he was drafted out of San Jose State, and I'd say he's made his keep right there.
63-yard play. And the Broncos, trailing by 7, have a first and goal down at the 2. Lang and Winder, the running backs. It's Lang. Touchdown. Gene Lang, 11th round draft pick, rookie from LSU, carrying the ball for the first time this afternoon.
And he's the only back that they have that's over 6 foot tall, so I guess they call him their short yardage back.
Rich Carlos looking to tie it.
Bill Bryan, 64. Keith Bishop, 54. Excellent cross block. That gives Lang a chance to slip through that small crack and tie the score. I think this game's going right by the book. People said it would be close. I don't think they expected quite as much offense, but if you look at number 7, you'll see all players are highly involved.
Rich Carlos getting set to kick off. We're tied at 17. And again, a boomer. Dixon and Morris had to let it fly by.
I wonder where they're going to have to spot that ball to create kickoff returns. They've moved it back 5 yards in the past 5 years. They're still kicking them out of the end zone. That ball carried almost 80 yards in the air, and both sides are doing it regularly. Here we have the touchdown. Simple little cross block by 64, Bryan the center, 54, Bishop the guard. That's what allowed Lang to get in.
What a series for the rookie Lang, who came through with that good kickoff return that was followed up by the 63-yard pass play to Gerald Wilhite, and Lang finished it off. First down from the 20 for Seattle. 7 minutes remaining, third quarter. Play action for Craig going sideline, and it's broken up. Steve Wilson on the deflection.
Tell you what, they're not going to leave Darrell Turner out there alone anymore. Steve Wilson was in on the deflection, and as soon as that ball's touched by a defender, you can unload on the intended receiver, which is exactly what is done. Take a look. As soon as this ball is touched, Wilson touches it, and Foley touches Turner.
And Mile High is rocking once again. Tied at 17. And Craig, 19 for 29, 292 yards, 2 touchdowns, has a second down 10. Nice catch by Dan Dornick, but short of the first down. Busick and Dennison.
On most every occasion, Marv, and I hate to interrupt, it's like Craig has picked out the right receiver. He's picked out the open man. You have to be given time in order to do that, and when he's been given time, he has done it throughout the afternoon. I hope he doesn't pick out that guy in the orange bucket.
Fourth catch for Dornick. A third down and 3 at the 27. And now Craig facing the crowd once again. Penalty flag down. Here's Hughes. And we'll have to see where they mark it.
I think it's offensively. I don't think he made the first down. Well, hey, it looks like they may have spotted it to where he did make it. And if so, the Seahawks were in motion, I believe, and it will be brought back.
Busick and Jackson and Wright on the stop, stacking up David Hughes.
Illegal motion. Number 33, offense. Still third down.
And yes, it is a motion on Dan Dornick. And penalties have been a major factor here today.
Well, they've been critical because they've stopped turnovers. It seems like there hasn't been a penalty in an unimportant moment.
Third down and 8. Again movement, and again the flag's thrown. And we'll have to check out the penalty call.
Looked like it might have been right down there in the front line between Blair Bush and Robert Pratt, but we shall see.
False start prior to the snap. Number 67. Still third down.
Again against Seattle.
You can see Reggie shaking his head. It's so hard to hear, Marv, when you're Seattle playing on the road. We mentioned the effect that the crowd can have on an offense from an opposing city. This is the sort of thing that happens all too frequently. Reggie McKenzie, the right guard, was guilty on that occasion. Dornick, the play before, and I'm sure it's because they can't hear the signals well.
The decibel level here at Mile High, this crowd is loud to start with, but perhaps because of the structure of the field, it is one of the higher decibel levels around the NFL. Of course, they can root pretty good in Seattle, as the Broncos will find out in a couple of weeks.
That's right, but they don't have to. They don't have to find out today, and I'm sure it will be a return of favor. And if Seattle were to find a way to win today, there's no telling how loud it might get up there.
Well, the Broncos faced that in the wild card game in Seattle last year. Denver returning the favor right here. Apparently there was a problem with time remaining third quarter, and you can see the adjustments are being made. It'll be a third down and 13. Back at the 17, and here comes the crowd again. Largent, and what a move to pick up the first down.
Are you kidding me? Craig knows when he goes back, he's going to have to give Largent some time to get rid of the double coverage that he's been finding from the slot position. So when he goes back, he doesn't even look immediately to him. He tries to he's got good protection. There's a three-man rush. His offensive line creates a little gap. So now he's got a chance. Largent, you find the hole, I'll hit you. It's as complicated as that. It's after Steve catches the ball that the work was really done.
15-yard play. 9 catches, 160 yards for this man, number 80, Steve Largent. First down at the 32 as we pick it up back to the live action. Dornick. And that a short pickup. 9th reception for Largent, incidentally, equals a single-game career high. He caught 5 last week in the snow against Cincinnati. Second down and 4. Seattle Seahawks record of 10-2 A Seattle win here today would mean a tie for first with Denver. Broncos have already clinched a playoff berth. A Denver win would give them a 2-game lead on the Seahawks. Dixon. Some nice moves by Zachary Dixon, close to the first down marker. Dennison and Foley on the tackle.
Well, with any kind of blocks, when you've got the sort of threat that Largent is posing today, they take 2 linebackers and they try to keep him from getting 5 yards deep down from the line of scrimmage. And when you put 2 linebackers on any wide receiver, you're having a little problem with your contain. So a run to the other side ought to be effective, and it was.
And there's still some discussion as to where that the football will be spotted.
It does not look as though it's a first down, and this has not been the best of downs for the Seahawks throughout the afternoon. If it happens to be 3rd and 1, whether it be an inch or a foot, they've had a little trouble getting to the line.
Down to 4:18 left in this 3rd quarter. So it is a 3rd down play coming up. Seahawks getting off early. First play from scrimmage. Craig to the rookie Darrell Turner. Field goal by Carlos. And then Johnson made it 10-3. Elway to Butch. Johnson tied it at 10. Craig to Hughes, making it 17-10. And the 2-yard run by Lang to tie it at 17. Dave Craig with a couple of bombs. For 65 in the 80-yard pass play on the touchdown to Turner. 3rd and 1. Fumble. Hughes recovered and looked to pick it up.
He picked up the ball, but he didn't pick up the yardage. He was lucky that he did pick up the first, however. I mean, the first item.
Yes. Usyk and Foley on the tackle. The Seahawks are stopped short of the first down.
This play looks like it starts out to be a winner. You can see Dornick has his block on Louis Wright. The play looks to be a good one, but you must hang on to the football.
And the punting situation, Jeff West. Look at that average, 28 yards per punt, and Wilhite is back in single safety. Gerald Wilhite. Out to the 20.
You know, isn't it unique that we're sitting toward the end of the 3rd quarter and 2 teams who are plus 50 and plus 48 in turnovers or what have you. So far, there has been only 1 turnover in the ball game, that being an interception by Denver.
That's time remaining, 3rd quarter. Denver and Seattle tied at 17. A 45-yard punt by West, the 6-yard return by Wilhite. And a first down out of the 20-yard line. John Elway, 6 for 13, 156 yards. Goes to the ground for Winder. Not much there. And we're set for an update. Let's go to our studios in New York. Thank you, Bill. And back here in Denver, we're tied at 17. 2nd down and 7. From the 23, Elway out of the shotgun. At nothing. And runs it out.
He was trying to make that a little shovel pass, which we've seen be so effective in the past. If you can get a little movement, get your back to slip underneath somebody, and this is the man that they obviously would love to go to if the opportunity presented itself. But he's had a problem getting off the line of scrimmage. When he has, he's had a problem getting open. And it has not been one of his banner days.
And some words between Steve Watson and Terry Jackson.
That's a given. You know they're going to talk.
3rd down and 6. From the 24, 2:15 left, 3rd quarter. Oh, knocked down nicely. Dave Brown stepping in front of Clint Sampson.
Dave Brown, every every time I see him, he impresses me more. It's his timing is so excellent. He very seldom ever gets called for any sort of an interception or any sort of violation. He plays the ball the whole way. Look at this. You can see his left arm, although it's on the back shoulder, he does not make contact. He pulls it away. That's a technique that some learn better than others. He's got it down to a science.
And here is Chris Norman. And again, Chuck Knox providing some security. He has 3 men back, flanking Paul Scansey, who is back inside his 30-yard line. Oh, again, it is a beauty. Scansey, 25. Out near the 30, and gang tackle. Led by Gene Lang, who has had himself quite an all-around day. A 58-yard punt by the rookie Chris Norman, a 12-yard return for Scansey. And with 2 minutes left in this third quarter, the Seahawks first down back at their 30.
Every department performance by both teams. When you kick the ball 5 times or punt it for a 56.4 average, and I mean, none of them have been over 65, but all of them have been over 50. I mean, you can't ask any more out of your group.
And here comes the crowd once again as Dave Craig call signals. Steve Largent at midfield, his 10th reception of the day, and again a first down as he picks up 20 yards on the
And that's the most balls I believe he has ever caught in a National Football League game. Couldn't come in a bigger one, but again, it's because Craig has so much time. He wants to go to Charlie Young underneath, but the linebackers jump on Charlie Young. He throws it over the top to Largent, who's given time to go all the way down in the secondary, like pitch and catch when they give you that much time.
If you're Denver, what do you do to stop Largent?
I get scared.
Big hole for Dorning. And he is at the first down marker.
That's what you do. You give the fullback a little bit of running room if you make a crack for him at the point of attack. Those linebackers are now much more concerned with getting their depth and playing on the receivers. You can see right there, there's nobody in the hole. Number 58, Steve Busick, was the only linebacker around the play. Good block will handle him.
Second and about a half yard.
There is a tough old codger.
Not that old.
Got a very sweet face. Inside.
You say old affectionately, right?
Oh,
He's
yeah.
52 years old, a young man. And the first down picked up by David Hughes. So Craig mixing it up well. Steve Wilson on the stump of Hughes. And we're down to 25 seconds remaining. Third quarter.
And you know, another factor, although it is not, the wind is not severe up here in Denver, the Seahawks right now are going against the wind. The one plus factor in the fourth quarter is that they will have it at their back. However, I'd rather have the home advantage.
Particularly the way this crowd has been going. They were quiet for just a brief moment following that 80-yard bomb thrown to get things going in the first quarter. And that is the end of the third quarter here in Denver. The score, Seattle 17, Denver 17. We'll be back after these words from your local station. 20% chance of snow to this point. We have not seen it. Marv Albert with John Brody. And as you look at that stat on the screen, only 1 turnover thus far this afternoon. Interception by Seattle's Dave Brown. First and 10 from the 33 as we get underway, fourth quarter. And it's the tight end, Charlie Young, on his first reception of the day.
And that is a perfect illustration of what happens when you ask the question, how do you handle Steve Largent? The linebackers backed off to about a 14-yard depth. Earlier, on the same drive, Craig wanted to go to Young. The linebackers had him. This time, they do not. Take a look at the depth of the linebackers. They're coming back. Number 80 is out, just coming in. It's the same pattern, only this time Craig can hit Charlie Young, and he picks up another first down.
Charlie Young in his 12th season out of the University of Southern California, going 13 yards on the reception. First down at the 19. And Dornick inside the 10 for a another Seattle first down. It'll be 1st and goal for the Seahawks.
The one thing that Craig is doing so well is he is not letting the linebackers for the Broncos get off the hook. He knows he's got a group that's a little confused. 340 yards passing ought to tell the story pretty well. But every time he's got an open receiver, he takes him, and he takes what he can get. I think, as I've seen David Craig several times before, this is as fine a ball game as I've ever seen him play.
He had a big day during the regular season last year against Denver in the wild card, 12 for 13, 200 yards, so he's enjoyed playing the Broncos. 25 for 35 today. 1st and goal out at the 8. Here's Dorning. Driving move to get inside the 5.
Well, as Chuck mentioned before the ball game again, he said, you know, we've got to throw the ball instead of run it to pick up 4 and 5 and 6 yards on 1st down. This is simply a running play in which Craig is coming out to Dornick the whole way, depending on the back to pick up the extra 3 or 4 yards in an open field situation. He's done it time after time. No reason not to come to him.
And it sets up a 2nd and goal from the 4.
Now it is tough. if I'm Seattle, I'd still throw.
And that's what Craig will try to do.
It's all right. You could almost see the predetermined thought in his mind. We come down, if we have no receiver open, file it, come back for 3rd and 4.
And that is the situation. 12:36 remaining, 4th quarter. Denver and Seattle tied at 17. How often the so-called games of the year don't measure up, but this has been a dandy.
You can see why both teams are in double digits win-wise.
3rd and goal from the 4. That's Largent in motion. Looking for Largent, could find him. Touchdown. What an adjustment of the pattern was made by Steve Largent.
That was the pattern, Marv. If you'll take a look at Dave Craig closely, you'll notice the first pump was simply to get the cornerback to commit. He did so. That tells Largent to come right around behind. You notice there was no hesitation in the final throw. Watch here. He kind of slides to the right. He's trying to see that pump. That's a nothing job. He never was trying to hit him originally. This is the sort of thing you work in short yardage drills with your outstanding receivers. You get down in a one-on-one situation. How can we beat a great defender? That's how.
4-yard touchdown pass play. Largent with his 11th catch of the day. 183 yards in all. And Norm Johnson with the extra point. So the Seahawks have jumped in front, 24-17. Here is another look.
Steve Largent. It doesn't matter who the defender is. In this case, it's Steve Foley. Steve tries to cut underneath, take the angle away. Largent predicts it. Craig knows it. Touchdown.
All right, next Saturday, the 12.5 left, 4th quarter. Marv Albert, John Brody from Denver. Norm Johnson with the kickoff. The Seahawks now lead it by the score of 24-17, and once again, no kickoff return. Well, we just saw Steve Largent come up with his 11th reception of the day. And I'll ask you the question again, John. I'm sure they're talking about it up in the booth where they're trying to make adjustments defensively. What can the Broncos do to slow this guy down?
I try to figure out, if I'm a Bronco, I try to figure out a trade for him.
Yeah.
Because I don't see any way right. I've always thought that a perfectly executed offense is going to beat a defense given enough time. And Dave Craig has been given a load of time by his offensive line, who has to be credited.
Denver first down at the 20 out of the I. Elway, play action, stepping up, can't find anyone. Second sack of the day. Shelton Robinson getting to John Elway. We're set for another update. Let's go to that sack by Robinson sets it back to a 2nd and 16.
And if you'll notice closely, they're keeping both backs in. When they do that, they're a little lighter receivers. John, although he had plenty of time, had no receiver open.
First sack of the season by Robinson. Elway getting the time. Steve Watson beautiful catch.
Are you kidding me?
He wasn't certain he had it.
Well, Terry Taylor couldn't believe it because it looked as though he was right in his hip pocket. It's the sort of catch that Steve Watson has made famous up here in Denver. The catch that nobody expects you even have a chance for with all kinds of people around him. This ball was a well-thrown ball, but better defensed. And for Watson to make this catch at this time in the ball game, I can understand why Elway's coming to him no matter what the condition.
23-yard pass play. As you see, only the second catch of the day by Watson. First down from the Denver 36. Again, play action. Again, much time. Clarence Kay, the tight end, who is rarely the intended receiver. And a flag down. Let's see.
Oh, if they call this a reception and a fumble, there better be a referee's meeting, because he never had control of that ball at any time.
The indication for the fumble and the recovery by Seattle. All right, we'll get another look at it.
Look at this. Now, if he had control of that ball, I don't believe it. You can see Dan Reeves saying, wait a minute. And whoever the official was, had to be somebody with a better angle than his back to the ball. But look, I mean, he never has control. It was never a catch, and it was a bad call.
And the crowd responding. Looked like Jacob Green was able to cover up. Off the draw, Dan Dornick with a beautiful spin move for the first down. Steve Foley on the stop.
The reason you saw no more reaction than you did is the people in Denver were stunned, the players were stunned, and Dan Reeves is yelling as loud as he can to the official on the line of scrimmage. Take another look. This is called a reception and a fumble.
Clarence Kay, who was in there because of his superb blocking, has only caught 13 balls this season. That's a critical turnover. Again, it's Dornick. That is only the second turnover of the day, both by Denver. There was an interception earlier by Dave Brown, and the fumble by the tight end, Clarence Kay. Second down and 6 from the 23. This telecast is presented by authority of the National Football League, and it is intended for the private use of our audience. Any rebroadcast or other use of this telecast without the express written consent of the Denver Broncos and the National Football League is prohibited. Broken up by Lewis Wright, the rookie from Michigan State, Darrell Turner, the intended receiver.
Well, there's under 10 minutes left to play. We've seen Craig pick out the right receiver on each occasion. A real fine defensive play by Lewis Wright. This is a sort of football game that is so well played. I'd hate to see it swung one way or another by a very controversial call.
A couple of calls earlier that were questionable, going both ways. There was a face mask that Seattle felt should have been called, but was not. Craig is 27 for 39 with a 373 yards. Third down play. It was deflected, and Largent came up with the football. Let's see where they spot it.
I don't think there are many adjectives left to describe the sort of day that Steve Largent is having. But this is the kind of ball that no matter how well balanced you are as a receiver, and we'll see Craig throw it, he gets tipped by Jackson. Two people back there to defend. Number 80 comes down with it.
And that is catch number 12 for Largent. Following the deflection. First down at the 16. Here's Dornick. Looked like the timing was slightly off right there. Rulon Jones and Walt Boyer on the stop.
The timing often is off when you don't get the ball cleanly, and Dornick never had the ball. Actually just tried to retain possession to keep from fumbling, because it appears as though anything short of a turnover will put them in a very commanding position. 7 up with a kicker that's 17 out of 18 inside the 50.
2nd and 10 from the 16. Craig just rolls right along. It's the tight end Charlie Young, Dennison, and Busick on the stop.
So often it's one man who creates the whole tempo for the rest of his offense. And we've seen Steve Largent throughout the afternoon. Just watch the type pattern the man runs. You think he doesn't put some fear into any defensive back? When he gets off that line of scrimmage, baby, if the quarterback has time, the defensive back is history.
Down and 1 at the 7. Here's Dixon. Hit for the loss by the inside linebacker Steve Busick.
And that's where it's been real tough for Seattle. That's why it's even more impressive that Seattle's been able to throw for 350 yards plus, being able to run the ball for almost nil.
Clock running down, just under 7 minutes remaining in this 4th quarter. Story here, the combination of Dave Craig, Steve Largent, Norm Johnson with a 28-yard field goal attempt. He hit from 33, he's missed from 29. He has been very efficient. Hits from 28 to extend to a 10-point Seattle lead. 6:32 left. 4th quarter. We'll be right back. In Denver, Seattle Seahawks now lead by 10 over the Broncos. An important series upcoming off this Seattle kickoff.
Well, you know, Denver's come back so many times, and particularly up here in Mile High Stadium, but I really think the last turnover was a cruncher for them, because to score 10 points against Seattle is a little different than scoring 10 against some of the other clubs they've had to.
That the Clarence K fumble, it was ruled a completed pass, and that he had coughed it up. Norm Johnson, who just hit from 28 yards away to make it 19 out of 22 on the season with the kickoff. And this one of the shorter kicks for either club. Gene Lang, who has had an outstanding day, the rookie from LSU, on a 17-yard return. Paul Moyer on the stop. Swing around the scoreboard. Giants with 2 late touchdown passes by Phil Simms, nipping Kansas City.
We look at the scores, and they'll be up there. Right now, Denver has to do a few things in order to win this football game. One, they know time's against them. They'll have to hurry back to the huddle. They'll have to employ number 81 into their offensive structure. Double covered or not, John's got to come up with some real big pass plays.
First down at the 22. Throwing the bullet, Clarence Kay, the tight end, on the catch. So he goes right to Kay, who had turned it over.
Well, I know this happens an awful lot, and it's a good quality for a quarterback to have, to know that if a man's guilty of making a very big turnover, you go back to him to show your confidence. But I think in this case, he was trying to get down the field and came to Kay as a secondary receiver. But they've got to get a lot more going than that.
John Elway is 9 for 17, 188 yards. 2nd and 2. And he goes down the field for the first down. Steve Watson making the catch. Pete Simpson on the coverage.
Tell you what, Seattle's getting very borderline. The fans thought then it should have been roughness. And Lang is hobbling off the field. You'll notice, the Broncos are keeping 7 people back to protect Elway, trying to get Watson down the field. He knows it's double coverage. You can see
unnecessary roughness. Number 42, defense. First down.
We didn't see the flag, but the official saw the play. The flag was thrown just underneath the receiver, and I think it was a correct call. It's the they've been getting with it today, but they've been called too.
And a first down for the Broncos at the Seattle 42-yard line. We're down to 6 minutes left, fourth quarter. 11 penalties in all have been accepted. There's the shuttle. Jesse Miles for the first down. The shovel pass to Jesse Miles, and it picks up 12.
It's funny when you have a group that is used to these sort of football games, used to being behind, coming back with whatever sort of offense they employ. A minimum risk offense does save a lot to be used in the last quarter. But we didn't see this earlier in the ball game. We saw it there. Picks up the first down.
Kenny Easley on the stop. First time that Miles has gotten into it today. First down at the Seattle 30. Watson in motion. Penalty flag thrown. Here's Miles. And a fumble. Seahawks say they have it.
And no matter. That time Elway pulled the defensive end off sides. The flag was thrown as soon as the ball was snapped, so it'll be 5 yards for Denver, I'm sure. I shouldn't say that because there have been a few things I haven't been quite so sure about.
I was going to mention that.
Jerry Seaman just said offense or defense.
All right, Chuck Knox shaking his head, but as you say, John, they'll bring it back.
Encroachment. Number 79, defense. Penalty decline.
So Jacob
Offside,
Green.
number 77, defense. Penalty accepted. It'll be first down.
First Jacob Green and then Jeff Bryant. Heard their names on the public address.
Well, they know when you're using a three-man line, there's only three of you to get to the quarterback. You've not only got to get started early, you've got to get by 2 or 3 fellas.
Broncos now first and 5 at the 25. 10-point Seattle lead. Got a 5:15 left, fourth quarter. Elway has the first down and slides inside the 10.
Good heads-up play. This drive has only consumed about 1 minute and 45 seconds. There's still 5 minutes to play. They still have to hurry, but they are back in it. Good play. Don't try to prove you're tough, John. Just get down there and go back to the huddle.
It is a first and goal inside the 10. And they come out of the eye. Touchdown. Again, the rookie, Gene Lang.
Gene Lang may be something they've been looking for around here. That's his second touchdown of the day. Extreme Denver's done it so many times. I was going to say extreme acceleration. Fouled up the word, but he still hasn't.
Gene Lang, a steady guy, both tailback and fullback during his 4 years at LSU. Major factor here today. And Rich Wallace puts it through, so the Broncos move within 3 points.
These guys just keep coming back. Take a look at Elway here. He fires that ball to Lang on the dead run. When Lang gets it, he knows where that goal line is. He covers it easily, and they're back to within 3 points.
They are standing and stumping here at Mile High in Denver. The Broncos have won 12 straight here in Denver, longest home winning streak in the history of the franchise. The Seahawks lead the Broncos 27-24. The rookie Gene Lang just scored a second touchdown of the day. And the kickoff by Carlos. It took the tricky hop. Zach Dixon could not field it. So the Hawks will start out from their 20-yard line with 4:18 left in the fourth quarter.
Gene Lang scored 2 times today. Brought his team back to within 3 points as Elway hits him on a little swing pass. You take a man that knows where he's aimed.
5 plays, 78 yards within 2 minutes and 7 seconds, capped off by the 9-yard pass from Elway to Lang. And for the Denver defensive unit, this the series of the game. Craig completes to Charlie Young. So the veteran has come through down the stretch. That's his 3rd catch, and they've all come late.
And you can bet. Chuck Knox knows. David Craig knows. They cannot try to pick up a first down running the football because they've shown they've been unable to do that throughout the afternoon. Let's go back to what brought us here. They did.
First down picked up by Charlie Young, who spent 4 years with the Eagles, 3 with the Rams, 3 with the 49ers. This is 2nd with Seattle. And that's how it has gone. Right from the start, it's been a terrific afternoon here in Denver. As Craig goes sideline, Steve Largent, the intended receiver, covered by Mike Harden.
Well, Barney Chavis just got there a little too fast that time, and that can also be an excellent pass defense. We expected the Broncos to put a little more pressure on Craig because they put so much pressure throughout the year on opponents. But the offensive line has held them off throughout the afternoon.
They have 3 touchdown passes by Craig, put him at 24 on the season. A Seahawk club record. Only Dan Marino has thrown for more. Going into tomorrow night against the Jets, he has 32. 2nd and 10. From the 36. Craig throwing the bomb for Turner. So Craig and Turner now 1 for 3. They succeeded right at the start. He had him earlier this second half, and this time he overthrows.
Well, this one was tough. He had to let go of the ball before Turner really made his final break on his pattern. That's the toughest thing for a quarterback to do. 75, Rulon Jones. They filed that 3-man line effort trying to get to Craig. They're just trying to hurry him. In so doing, he has to throw too early.
It is 3rd and 10 from the 36. 3:19 left, fourth quarter. And Seattle clinging to a 3-point lead. They lead the Broncos 27-24. The first down. Check that. He's up to the 39-yard line.
He is well short of the first down, but...
And it will be a 4th down play upcoming. A timeout has been called with 3:05 left in this fourth quarter. Seattle falling short. And now Jeff West will punt from his 25. And he'll punt to Gerald Wilhite. 3:05 left, fourth quarter. Seattle leading Denver by 3. Gets the hang time. And the fair catch called for cleanly this time by Wilhite. A 41-yard punt. So the Broncos now will go to work, starting out from their 20.
You know, it's so important now, Marv. They know they're in a position where if they can score a touchdown, they jump into a 2-game lead. Their home field situation improves. They're in a battle with Miami right now. And if they don't, they have a dogfight on their hands. You can bet that the Raiders are right now rooting very hard for them to get down the field, because they know if it gets to where there's 2 losses apiece, 4 losses don't look so good.
Well, let's see, next Sunday, Denver will be at Kansas City, then home for San Diego. They close at Seattle. Seattle home for Detroit next week, and then at Kansas City. John Elway, 1st and 10 from the 20. Goes across the field. To Will Hite.
You notice there is not much calm in the stands, but on the field of play, the players are very calm. Elway, this is where a real strong arm, running one way, throwing across your body the other, helps the back that's receiving the ball. He got it in time to look upfield.
Picked up 17. 1st down from the 37. 2:17 left. Will Hite again. And the 1st down at midfield. John Harris on the stop. A 14-yard pass play. A 2-minute warning. We have a pretty fair finish going right here, but right now, here comes another one of those fantastic. I really enjoy that John Brody fantastic finish. You're an exciting guy.
Well, thank you, Marv, but I'll tell you, this finish has a little excitement of its own.
All right, immediately following football coverage, we'll join the Silver Spoons program in progress. In addition, all remaining NBC Network evening programs will also be seen over most of these stations except for Pacific Time Zone and some Mountain Time Zone stations. Also, some of you will see the exciting conclusion of the Skins game. Elway back to work. 1st down. Steve Watson.
Okay, what have they done? They put themselves in excellent field goal position, but that's for a tie. They've got to win the ball game to really put themselves in a 2-game commanding lead. Now strategy does come into effect. Very smart. They had 2 plays called. They're up at the line.
You see the clock running down. Elway gets it away.
And that looked bad because it looked as if he'd thrown it into a potential interception. What happened is Steve Watson, right on his break as John was throwing the ball, slipped down. And you know, people, I think if you'd seen this kid last year in the same situation, he won a couple games coming down the stretch for him just because he is such a tenacious competitor. And that's something I think the people in Denver are going to grow to appreciate over the years more and more and more. It's one thing to talk about a guy's arm, but that isn't the number. Being able to play when the chips are down is the number.
Magnificent day for both quarterbacks. Dave Craig, John Elway. Elway has a 2nd and 10. And has the 1st down at the 15. John Harris on the stop of Elway. Clock stopped now with 1 minute and 17 left.
You know, they were so smart. We talk about them being a minimum risk offense, and they are. But now, when the game's in the balance, they call a couple plays. They get up to the line after their 1st down. They don't fiddle around. They keep the defense in a very defensive position without being able to make a lot of change-ups. And I think it's been very intelligently done throughout the afternoon on both sides.
So the Seahawks with 3 timeouts left. Broncos have 1.
It comes that time in the game where the head coach can only sit back and chew his bubble gum.
When we resume following the timeout, the Broncos 1st down, 1st and 10 at the Seattle 15. The Seahawks by 3, 27-24, 1 minute 17 left, 4th quarter.
And you can bet, and while everybody's sitting here talking over what they want to do in the next minute and few seconds, I'd like to say hello to Kenny Edmondson's mother, our producer, his mother Lucille Raines, who is resting comfortably, I hope, down in Franklin, Tennessee, and I'm sure she's enjoying the game. We wish you a very hearty get well quick.
And I'd like to thank our statistician, Ross Schneiderman, our spotters, Ron Talpers and Al King, our auxiliary stat man, Ray Friedman, and Tom Murray handling all the out-of-town scores. Thank you all. Boy, it has been an enjoyable afternoon here in Denver.
It looks like it's just getting started.
Elway checking it out. First down at the 15. Lofts it and overthrows. The only man in sight was, thought I saw Butch Johnson or Ray Alexander somewhere in the vicinity.
He was not going to try and force it. He knows right now it's a pitch shot for a field goal to tie. They're playing at home. That's an advantage generally to the team at home in an overtime. And I'm sure that was a very big part of their discussion on the sideline. Do not be a hero down at this point. That's one of the things I think the young quarterbacks have learned so swiftly is that, hey, we have 49 players on this team. Make sure we use them all.
Art Johnson to the left. Watson slot left. 2nd and 10. A minute 11 left, fourth quarter.
Another cheap seat job. He's hoping he can get a receiver to come cleanly open. If he doesn't, I don't think he'll try that low percentage pass.
Clarence Kay, the intended receiver. John Elway overall is 15 for 26, 275, 275 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. And he now has a 3rd down and 10. A minute 5 left, fourth quarter. Inside the 10. And now, with 55 seconds on the clock.
Let's see if Rich Carlos has a little lump in his throat.
Here comes Carlos from the Denver bench.
Let's recognize he's kicking his field goal with a little more time left on the clock than they would like. 46 seconds means the Seahawks will get the ball back. Well, 6 or 7 seconds have gone off the clock, so now we're under 40, but it's still plenty of time to come back and get another 3.
And this field goal attempt will be from 26 yards away. 39 seconds left. That is the official time. We'll be back in just a moment. Back in Denver, Rich Carlos in his 3rd year out of the University of Cincinnati and having his 3rd straight outstanding season, hit earlier from 27, so he's 15 for 20. On the year, he has hit 5 of his last 6. And he will shoot from 26 yards, looking to tie the game.
And what's so impressive to me, I know it's thin air up here in Denver, but for kickers to kick on natural turf at that percentage is even more impressive than on synthetic surface.
Chris Norman will put it down. And he missed. Rich Carlos not able to hit from 26 yards away. And the Denver Broncos trail by 3 with 35 seconds remaining. And the Seahawks will take over.
You talk about ending a great game on a downer. Also, the Broncos only have 1 timeout left, so it's not necessary for the Seahawks to do anything but sit on the ball and run the clock out. And that will put this Western Division AFC race into a deadlock.
It comes down to a missed field goal. They're now calling it officially a 25-yard attempt. And Rich Carlos not able to hit as the Broncos went 72 yards in 2 minutes and 18 seconds. And the Seahawks will just run it out. Here's another look at it. It glanced off the right upright, going wide right. And now the timeout is called. So the Seattle Seahawks. Here's another look. Norman put it down. Watch the reaction. Oh, no, he says.
Well, obviously, a kicker of his magnitude has to be the most surprised man in the house. This game, which has been so beautifully played throughout the day, it's a shame it has to end on a note like that.
But the Seattle Seahawks do not mind at all if they hold on right here, and it would take a miraculous turn, a little pecking on the football. With 32 seconds remaining, the Seahawks will go to 11-2 to move into a first-place tie in the AFC West with the Denver Broncos. The Seahawks to make it 6 straight wins and to stop the Bronco win streak at 10, and the Seahawks do it by coming to Denver to beat the Broncos.
And you know, the thing that I think you should give Chuck Knox so much credit for, he coming in here, he didn't wait for anything to happen. He knew he was in about as far up to his head level as he could be. They came out winging from the first play of the ball game. He knew David Craig had to have an excellent day for them to be in a position to win the ball game. He took that shot. He did have a great day. As a result, this baby is all tied up.
Denver and Seattle now at 11 up and 2 down. This one in the books. Time running down, 10 seconds and counting. And the Seattle Seahawks have come away with a 3-point victory over the Denver Broncos. They do it off the pass combination of Dave Craig and Steve Largent. A brilliant 12-catch day for Largent. Seattle 27,